What is going on, guys? Today I bring you round 4, and I'll also talk about round 5 of the National Amateur Championship. So, first of all, round 5 was a really quick draw with my opponent, and it's not really worth mentioning or covering in a individual episode, in my opinion. So, let's go into round 4, which was a interesting game. Here I was paired up against João Afonso, 1685 rated player, and let's see how the game went. I had the white pieces and I started the game with d4, knight f6, and bishop f4, the London system. And for you guys that don't like the London system, I have good news for you. This was, my last game for a while with the London pieces. After this game, I decided to just chill out a bit and retire from this opening. I mean, nothing really against the opening itself. It's just that I played pretty much almost exclusively this opening with the white pieces during the summer tournaments, and I just wanted to go back to something else or just try out something new. But mainly going back to e4, and also just trying out other stuff like knight f3 and the rest. I'm gonna let you guys see in the following episodes. But yeah, let's go back into the game. So my opponent goes e6, I go e3. My opponent d5 goes d5, I go knight bd2, c5, c3, and bishop d6. So this is like a very normal setup against the London, like one of the main lines and one of the main ways to play and one of the most solid ways to play against the London here. The normal move that I tend to play and sort of that I studied was knight f3, going into this type of structure, which is it's double edged. There's even though the pawns are doubled, it's actually not that bad, honestly. But yeah, I knew that I probably had to go for this, and I also had this exact position against a woman FIDE master from Austria, Nicola May Ruber. And yeah, I covered that game here in the channel. I'll leave it up here on a card if you guys want to check that out. But in this game, I wasn't feeling that type of position, and I decided to be creative. And creative is not always good. And normally, when I say creative, I mean it with a negative connotation. I played Queen f3, which it's definitely a weird move. It's definitely creative in that sense. Um, my opponent, when I played Queen f3, he was like giving it a look of disapproval, like what the heck is this move? And yeah, it's not a good move. The problem with Queen f3 is that it just blocks the natural path for the knight on f3, and I'm not really creating any threats here. But my idea with Queen f3 was that I could in the future play bishop e2, queen g3, and kind of have pressure on black's king side, and start a quick attack. But nah, this is not the way to go. Don't play like this, guys. My opponent here played a move that I think is just very good and natural, which is just knight c6 to develop. Here I played bishop b5, which is also a little bit questionable. I guess I just wanted to have control over e5, but if I want to have control over e5, I should have played knight f3. So it's questionable. Normally here in this type of lines, white just plays bishop e2 or bishop d3. Here bishop e2 would make a little bit more sense because my queen is on f3 and I need protection from knight h5. But I decided to go bishop b5, another questionable move in my opinion. And my opponent here just trades the bishop and goes queen b6. And after not a long think, I just played bishop takes on c6 and my opponent recaptures with the b pawn. And now here I started I realized that my position is just awful and I don't like it at all, and I already am in quite big trouble in my opinion. There's a lot of problems here, and you know I just regretted playing like this because I knew that I was already worse. I mean, here black is threatening the pawn on b2, and my thoughts were that if I just defended the pawn on b2 normally like this, my opponent would have just bishop a6, not letting me castle and also giving me a lot of trouble developing. And yeah, this was very uncomfortable. Here after probably like 25 to 30 minutes, I really spent that much time here. I played the best move in the engine, which is queen d6. And yeah, I mean, I was kind of proud of finding this move, but still there's a lot of problems even with this move. My idea was also to just infiltrate with the queen and not let him castle easily. But of course, uh, my opponent first my opponent takes on c5. I recapture with the c pawn, which the engine prefers me recapturing with e pawn. I didn't like recapturing with the e pawn because after queen takes b2 is also threatening the pawn on c3, and for that reason I recaptured with the c pawn. Now my opponent took on b2. Now he's not threatening to take on c3 because the pawn is on d4. Here I just took on c6, check, and my opponent plays bishop d7, which is a very tricky move. And it's a very nice move because it's just giving away two rooks. It just looks like it's just giving up two rooks, and that he just did a huge blunder. But let's see what happens if you actually take both rooks. So let's say the rook is hanging, so queen takes a8 with check, king e7 only move, and now if you take the rook on h8, here comes a deadly combination which ends in a spectacular mate. I want you guys to pause the video here and try to find the mate combination and attack for black. Hope you're enjoying the video. I just wanted to point out quickly that 82% of you guys that watch my videos aren't subscribed, and I would highly appreciate if you could hit that subscribe button. Thank you. Yeah. For you guys that paused the video and found the mate, congratulations. Now I'm gonna show it to everyone. So of course here you take the rook on a1, only move king e2, and after bishop b5 check, where do you go? I mean, let's say that you go to f3 to try to run away with the king. Here comes queen d1 check, and here where do you go? You're probably thinking g3 or f4. I mean, it doesn't really matter that much, but let's say you go to g3. Here, the final blow is queen g4 checkmate. What a beautiful combination, what a beautiful mate. And I did calculate that I couldn't take both rooks, and after bishop d7 the engine says that I can take on a8, and after king e7 play rook b1, counterattacking the queen. And here black would play rook take, no, actually black would take on b1 first, and then take on a8, and I guess this is a position, but yeah, of course black is way better. It's just his pieces are developed, his king is better, and yeah, I mean, look at these pieces here still, and even this knight on the starting squares, not good at all. I decided to go for a different move here, which I was happy with, which was queen c1 here. Like asking him, do you want to trade queens? And I thought that he didn't really want to trade queens because it would just, let me breathe a little bit better and take a little bit the pressure off my position. Here my opponent plays queen b5, and here I play queen a3, which I also thought was nice, and it is kind of nice because I still don't let him castle. Here my opponent plays rook c8, which I think is a nice move. I play rook b1, attacking the queen, and my opponent goes queen a4. Pretty much I have to take here, there's no other good move. So we traded queens, and here I played knight e2. My opponent castled, and for a moment I thought, okay, let's castle as well. But I realized that this wasn't good. I didn't really like this because of rook c2, and now, you know, my opponent is threatening the knight on d2, and if I move the knight, he captures on e2. And I also didn't like the fact that if I just try to protect the knight this way, he can take on a2, and then a discovered attack on the rook appears on the board, and he just took a pawn. He's threatening my rook here. It's not good. Although here the engine still thinks that I can survive with knight c3, and let's say if it takes, and yeah. But still, I would be down a pawn, and I wouldn't like that. So after knight e2 and castles, I decide to go rook b4, attacking the bishop on a4, and asking him a question: where do you want to put your bishop? My opponent goes bishop c2, nice move. And here I go knight c8. With knight c8, I played because I wanted to reroute my knights to a better square, and I thought that you know, if I can get knight b3, knight c5, I should be doing fine, and it will be easier for me to castle and to consolidate my position. Yeah, here the engine doesn't really like knight c8 for concrete reasons. It just wants me to attack the bishop again. But I went knight c1 here, and after a5, which was a nice move, asking my rook a question: where do you want to go? I play rook b2, and now my opponent plays knight e4. With knight e4, I mean, yeah, knight is just super strong on e4. I just had to take it, and my opponent captures back with the bishop. And here I play castle. So I thought, okay, finally I can castle. And I was happy that I finally castled, and I was still in hopes that I would be able to consolidate and just have an equal middle game slash endgame type of position after my incredible poor opening. My opponent goes a4, and a4 is a very nice move because it stops my knight from going into b3 and then c5. If I could get my knight on c5, I would be so happy. The knight would be so strong on c5, and yeah, I would have a lot of chances to just you know, have a good position and fight. After a4, I decided to play f3. I was not liking the position after knight e2 because of bishop d3 here, but I don't know if this is the end of the world because I can attack this bishop. But even this bishop staying on this diagonal here, I don't know, it looks awkward. So I played f3 first to kick the bishop away and also make a square for my king to join the party. And first of all, I play rook d1, kind of you know, developing the rook and also fighting for this d3 square. If I could put a knight here on d3 and then put a knight on c5, that would be awesome, as I said before. And my opponent goes rook c3, attacking the pawn on e3, and also threatening things like rook c8 to double up the rooks on the c file. And here I think I played the losing move, actually. I don't know what went through my mind. You know, here the move that comes more naturally to me, like the first move that comes into my mind is king f2. But for some reason, I thought that this was losing. And now I'm trying to figure out why I thought this was losing, because it's very weird. I don't think there's like a direct threat for black. First of all, let's see if my opponent tries to, you know, attack my rook. Here I think I can even go knight e2, and if my opponent takes here, I take here, and it's fine, totally fine. Actually, no, here I'm winning because his bishop is trapped. But yeah, also what if my opponent doubles on the c file? Maybe this is a bit more awkward to meet and annoying because I can't go to b1 because the bishop is covering that square. And yeah, my knight is hanging right now. I have to move my knight. I can't go to d3 because he has two pieces attacking that square. And I only have one defending. And of course, knight e2, the natural move attacking the rook here on c3. I feel like I just didn't like this position because of rook c2, which actually is just a blunder and gives white a way better position according to the engine. Here, I mean, there's a few possibilities, but yeah, the engine just says rook c2, rook takes on c2, and rook c1. Opponent has to take because I'm threatening to checkmate. So here we would have this position, and yeah, let's say after here I would be completely fine. My king is more active, and yeah, I would be doing fine. I think very fine. But I didn't see all of this, and for some reason I was scared of rook c2. But can't I even play rook d2? I think I can even play rook d2, and this is fine because, you know, my opponent has to take somehow, and let's say takes here, takes here. Yeah, there's not really like a direct threat or anything like that. So yeah, very weird by me. What I ended up playing in the game instead of king f2, which was so natural and so decent, I played rook b2 to d2, which just blunders the pawn, just gives up the pawn like nothing. And yeah, my opponent just takes the pawn on e3. And I don't know, like, what was my brilliant idea here? I mean, I knew what I was trying to go for. I thought that he couldn't really take the pawn because of knight d3. I thought that this was the genius move. But it's not genius at all. I thought that, you know, he can't take with the bishop because I have king f2 forking. Actually trapping the rook, but he can always go rook e2 and trade like this. And here's just up a pawn on a rook endgame, you know. And yeah, that's what they did. Basically, just took the knight with the rook, and we traded a lot of pieces. And after rook c8 is just a clean pawn up for nothing. I have no compensation for it, and just very weird. Like, I don't know what went through my mind to play this horrible rook d2, and I thought for a while, and I just played this horrible move. Just, I don't know, miscalculation, just completely brain dead at that point. You know, I don't know what to say, guys, about this. It was very, very poor from me. But yeah, fast forward, we go into this rook endgame. He down a pawn. He plays rook c8. I play rook d2, and here my pawn just starts bringing the king, bringing his pieces, and I try to hold somehow, but it was very difficult here. I tried to get some piece trades, but my opponent kept the rooks on the board, which I think is very good. And yeah, he started bringing his king. And yeah, the engine says just try to get the rooks traded here with this, and yeah, but this is -1. It's -1. Maybe it's not that easy to win for black, but yeah, I mean, it's just gonna push his majority here. But I will be able to get the a3 pawn and start being annoying and pushing my own pawn. So maybe I have chances to hold with that counterplay, but I didn't think that was enough, and I played f4. Yeah, just moving pawns is always risky, moving pawns in endgames, because they can never go back, and then if you move them too far away, they start getting weak. But yeah, I just was not able to find the best try for defense. Here my opponent just you know, starts opening up my position, pushing his pawns, bringing his king in, creating threats, and yeah, he just played a magnificent. He just played a very good game, very clean game, very nice endgame technique by my opponent. Just not giving me any chances. And yeah, after a few checks and just playing to not resign instantly here after this, I mean, rook versus rook and 3 pawns, especially connected pass pawns. I mean, nah. I had enough here in this position and I lost. And yeah, I mean, even though this tournament wasn't the best score wise, I got 1 win, 2 draws, and 2 losses. Not the greatest, but I actually won quite few points. I think I still won a decent amount of points, like something like 17 or 15 or something, which is definitely nice. But yeah, I could have won a little bit more. But yeah, it was a tough field as well. Pretty much every opponent that I played was higher rated than me. But yeah, I mean, it's still a nice tournament. This game was kind of poor, very poor by me, by my standards currently. But it is what it is. You can't always play at your peak form. There's always gonna be those games where you're just not playing that good. But it is what it is, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this tournament, and I'll be showing you the other tournaments that I've been playing in this winter season. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Bye bye.